Uh, yeah. So, hello, B B double O. I just wanted to kind of show you this redstone tutorial that I made, and none of these are extremely hard to build. But if you want me to go in more depth with each one, I can make another video or something. I can show you how. I know it may sound a little young. If that doesn't really matter, but I'm pretty good with redstone. So what I started off with is the one oh, it's the one clock. Basically just it's a very unstable clock. It moves extremely fast. And yeah. And for each one of these, for each clock that I'm going to show you, if you supply power to them at one of the ends, it will not keep going off. So if it lags your computer or something, it won't do that anymore. Basically what I started off with the one clock, and now I'm showing you the 3 clock. It's a little slower and a little bit more stable, but it still breaks, or as they'd say, a resting time for the torches. So it's still kind of unstable. But it is very compact if it's just going to use for a few seconds. And then next would be the 5 clock, if I'm not mistaken. Basically what the 5 clock is, it's slower than the 3 and the 1 clock, but it's completely stable and it will go on for as long as you need it to. So, and with the clocks, basically if you build like I'm about to show you a little bit, that if it's always an odd number, it will keep going on as whatever. I'm kind of crazy right now. Basically, it'll just keep ticking and ticking, but it'll go slower and slower. I'd have to remove that, put a torch there. So now, this is what I was trying to tell you about, is the LS NOR latch. So basically that's just a regular button, it keeps the door open for a little bit. Now when I press the button with the RS NOR latch, it opens the door and keeps it open. But when I hit the reset button, which is right there, it sends a pulse right there and triggers the RS NOR latch to reset itself. And basically when an RS NOR latches, it's basically just a memory. So when I press that, the opposite side, which I'm showing you right now, is powered, which goes all the way to the door. And yeah, it keeps the door open. Then when you press the button, the door will close, and it's been completely reset. Basically that's just a regular lever switch. And then this is an inverter, if you don't know what that is. So when that switches up, the door opens over there. And when that switches up, the door is closed on the first one. And this is basically just what an inverter is. It just changes your power. So if the power going into the block that has a torch on it is off, the inverter is going to be on. And when the power going into the block is on, the inverter is going to be off. So now I'm going to show you what's called an AND gate. An AND gate is basically where you have to have 2 switches powered. That's just a regular AND gate. You have to have 2 switches powered so that it sends power to the door or whatever you're using. It's a tiny bit more complicated to make, but it's not impossible or hard. It's actually pretty easy if you don't really think about it. So when the power's on, it turns off. When both powers are on, it turns off the switches, which turns on the power switch to open up the door, and vice versa, I guess. Now this is what it's called, a larger AND gate. Different names for it, I just kind of forgot. It's basically just the same thing, except it's been extended more on the outsides. And, sorry. Basically, it's just the same concept, except it's larger, as you can tell. It's been extended. And there are ways to shorten this too. It's kind of cool. And then what I'm going to show you right after this, after I turn off the snow really quickly, is a combination lock. Combination lock is basically this. The combination has to be correct, so the door opens, but if the combination is incorrect, the door is closed. Right after this. I mean, God, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's basically for the larger AND gate, they all have to be down. And then this is the combination lock, just a 4-lever combination lock. I switch, and that's the right combination, so the door opens. But when the wrong combination is put in, the door is obviously closed now. It's not too complicated from the outside, as you can see there. It gets a tiny bit more complicated on the inside. It's basically just a larger AND gate, except we want to have all the things coming out of it powered, whether it's on or off. So basically when the right combination is on, they're all powered. So which turns off all the AND gate, which turns on the output of the AND gate to open up the door. If you want me to get more in depth or show you how to make one of these things for some reason, then I can make another video. These aren't too hard to make, as you know. Now I remember seeing this in one of your previous episodes. It's just the double doors, except I got mine to work. It's pretty simple too. Yours had one door that opened and one door that closed, which is kind of annoying. You just ended up putting the pistons right in front of your Home Depot. And it's basically just that. There's not a lot of wiring going on. It's pretty simple. I've also timed it, the redstone repeaters, so they both open at the same time. Yeah. I still am thinking about how to reverse it so you can use the double doors on how to get outside instead of getting inside, but that's still another project for me. So here is just another clock, except it's not using any blocks at all, or redstone torches. It's using redstone repeaters. Basically, if you didn't know, a redstone repeater can be clicked 3 times for a longer distance. And the annoying part about these is that you have to reset it manually or it won't work. And also, they have to be ticked all the way up so they're at the slowest passing speed. And that's basically it. And then if you didn't know, redstone can only travel 15 blocks. And it won't power it if it's trying to power anything at the 16th block, except if you use a redstone repeater. If you put the redstone repeater at the 16th block, it keeps it powered and it'll keep on going. And yeah. Next, but it's definitely not the least, is the 5-minute timer. It's basically just a dispenser that's put onto that shoots some sort of block onto a wooden pressure plate, which powers the output. Sorry, I had to watch this really quickly. Right at the end of this little part, I fixed it so it'll keep going off without shooting 17 at a time. And if you didn't know, I'm using single player commands. So yeah. And most of my keys have been binded, so whatever. So right here to fix it, what I had to do is I have to put an inverter, which I showed you earlier. But the inverter has to be, the signal has to be directly going into the block. It will not do it for you. Let me just grab these really quickly. So basically it just shoots one, and then when in 5 minutes over, that one's gonna disappear, and the next one's gonna come out, and then another 5 minutes it's gonna disappear, and the next one's gonna come out. It's gonna do it by itself, kind of like it's automated. Just pretty neat. I'll show you really quickly. When it's taken off, it briefly powers the inverter, so it shoots out so it shoots out another block. And now what I really wanted to show you was just like 2 episodes ago. You're trying to make this the sticky piston door or whatever, or something of that kind. Well, what I basically did is I kind of remade it. There's nothing too special about it, but it is a working door with 2 different buttons, one on the outside to power the front door, and one on the inside so you can get outside. And then you can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be wool, but what I find with wool is that it's less glitched with the sticky pistons, so keep trying to go for as long as you want. So I was just kind of showing you kind of what you could have done, or what you could do with the doors. You cannot move the button any closer from what... Oh, yeah, you can move the button closer. What am I thinking? It just has to be 2 blocks away from the pistons itself. So you see, it's nothing really too special. But it is a nice little door if you want to add it to your home. And it's pretty easy to conceal all the redstone wiring. And then, since my tutorial is over, just so you know I'm not BSing you or anything like that, I've actually made this whole world by myself in single player, since I don't have multiplayer yet. And what I did here is I made a 20-minute timer clock. I've made a binary adder. It's a 1-bit though, not very special. I can make it 2, 3-bit if I wanted to. I made a little button latch thing over there. I still have yet to conceal a little bit. And if you see there, I have too many items. I've done a lot with pistons in a couple of days. So right here is just basically a little security system. Sorry about the quality too. So right there, if you turn on the switch, which you'd probably most likely want to hide, you can walk through it without anything happening. And then here, if you hit the wrong switch, this little latch opens, which I still have yet to fix. It's kind of still a little bit sad. So if you're standing over there and you press it, you're going to go down and die and lose everything. So I hope this tutorial helped you, or in the future it does. And yeah, remember, I'll go in depth if you ever need it, or show you